Thank you for tuning in. No1 Podcast. I am your host, Jake Shannon. So here we are again, my friends. Get this camera angle a little better. There we go. So I hope you guys are doing good. Already got compliments from the Instagram live stream on my new Billy Robinson shirt put out, exclusively available at scientificwrestling.com, made by artist extraordinaire. In fact, the world's deadliest artist, Sam Cresson. Also scientific wrestling coach. Yeah, you guys can check that out. I don't know if I'm going to wear this hat. Maybe I'll wear this hat. I don't know. Yeah, this red bill, man. I don't know about that. Anyway, hope you guys are doing good today. Welcome to the show. Here we are again. So I've been talking the last couple days on just a general framework, just philosophical, like in my own experience, what I think are the recipes for success. What are the pillars of greatness? Let's play with the lighting here. Let's see how. Oh, that's no good. That's too much. I like that. Ooh, yeah, get a lot of contrast. We were talking the last 3 episodes prior. By the way, you can go to anchor.fm/NO-podcast and that will make it happen for you. So you could listen to the old podcasts there. As I tell everybody, I cannot take callers like I used to with my old radio show. I would love to. I can't figure that quite out yet how to do that. But you guys, if you comment, I will share what you say. Some of the people can see it because I'm on different platforms. Instagram people, you're not going to be able to be seen by the Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn people. Clearly people on the podcast where there's no visual. I'm going to have to read it anyway. So I'd love to hear from you, hear your perspectives. But I'm trying to bang out this signature talk, right? Like, like a TED Talk type of deal, like, because I do public speaking. And so I have this one called Wrestling with Greatness. And it's basically me extrapolating some basic principles that I believe are like pillars for greatness and how I've, struggled to figure them out myself. First one, again, I don't want to beat a dead horse. You guys can go listen to the old shows if you want to hear them. But one of the things that keeps coming up that's not actually in the pillars that I keep talking about is the importance of people in your success. Okay. A lot of people who try to undertake a huge endeavor, I'm skewed towards business because that's what I do. I'm very involved in business development. So that is going to be what I'm talking about. But I think this applies to becoming a great actor, to becoming a fantastic athlete, to almost anything, becoming a great engineer, anything of that nature. It's going to require other people. Now, this is a difficult thing, especially in entrepreneurship. A lot of the majority of small businesses, they're not just the backbone of the economy. Small business is the economy. I probably should look up some of those stats, but you can look them up for yourself. Small business is the economy. Okay. Sure, there's these mega corps and whatnot, but still, despite that, it's people trying to make a living for themselves. I'm talking about people that don't have jobs. Meaning like hired by somebody else, a boss other than themselves. Now, a vast majority of these people that are small business owners are what I call solo entrepreneurs, okay, or solopreneurs. These are people that it's a super small business. It's the smallest business you can have. It is one person. And you could do amazing things, especially in today's age of incredible automation, and CRMs and digital marketing and all this kind of stuff. There's tremendous things that you can do single-handedly that are basically done by robots, or software and whatnot. It hasn't always been that way. But despite that, you still are going to need people. Okay. And this is something that I keep bumping up against with a lot of my clients. I have a business development agency known as Thales Coaching, and Thales Coaching, THALES coaching.com. Check it out. And, these clients, they bump up against the ceiling. Now, this is also something that's happened to me many times until I figured it out. And it fits in with the pillars because sometimes it's considered, I think, by solopreneurs taking a huge risk, but you need people. Okay. This is something that I think if people who are well-intentioned, but fall into the propaganda of the communists and Marxists, and I'm not being political here. I'm not, honestly, like, I really don't give two shits, but I'm talking about the people who vilify business. Sure. Vilify megacorps if they're unethical. I have no problem with that. The Pfizers, the Bears, these companies that have been busted doing Enrons, these companies that have been busted doing awful things. No problem. Same with big government. I think there's something that happens as well with scale, right? The bigger something becomes, the more likely there is going to be corruption and abuse of power. This is why I tend to prefer small business. I tend to prefer local small government because it's more immediate. It's less likely that these people are going to be scumbags. And if they are, there's immediate retribution, right? Like, speaking of immediate retribution, we got to just get this out of the way, and we'll get back to the importance of people. And I think this actually fits in nicely, but okay. Look at what is going on in our culture and how easily people are not principled, I don't think, anymore in the old school way. Like having general principles that guide their life. There are some, but it's not as well. Maybe it's never been a thing. I don't know. Maybe I'm romanticizing the past. I consider myself a principled person, and so I can look at Mike Tyson. For those of you that don't know, Mike Tyson was sitting on an airplane in coach and was being harassed by some numbskull, some kid, and went on and on and on for too long. And he was right behind him, this kid, and Tyson sat up and just pummeled the shit out of him. Okay. We just saw a similar thing happen. Now, not to the same extent of harassment, but nonetheless, Chris Rock harassing Will Smith, and then Will Smith acting like a tough guy, slaps him or whatever. I think there's a couple dimensions here. Listen, I come from a perspective not only in business, but also the wrestling business. And so my immediate thing is like, wow, look at the attention. Look at all the free publicity that both of these acts have generated. And, like there have been entire business models like the $8 billion WWE that was built upon staging fake fights before they revealed that they were fake. In the 80s, for a long time, that entire industry was built upon fake fights and the attention and publicity that they could create and the money that they could create. So there is that level where I think a lot of people are already skeptical of the Chris Rock, Will Smith thing, especially, nobody really knows for sure, right? Except Chris Rock and Will Smith, 100%. Maybe a handful of people other than that, if it was real or not, or pre-planned. I mean, certainly slapped him. But, there are some interesting factors at play here, right? What's up, Fred? Good to see you, brother. So there's a couple of factors here. One, Will Smith's brand has been incredibly emasculated due to the very public airing of the dirty laundry with him and Jada Pinkett Smith, his wife, right? And so, him being like a cuckold or whatever, however people dog him right now, right? But his brand has been emasculated. There's just no getting around that. Now, this is a guy who has been relied on by a lot of big money guys producing films as a masculine guy. And that puts at risk that particular brand, all that old footage, all that the old movies and stuff, and the intellectual property rights and whatnot. And so, you know, there was some incentive for Will Smith to either do this pre-planned with Chris Rock or not, but to do it nonetheless, right? You know, we don't know the details of what's going on with Mike Tyson. I mean, we don't know if he paid these knuckleheads to do that and film it, or if it was real. Nobody really knows, but it is a scenario that I think we should consider. But there's an interesting quote, right, by Friedrich Nietzsche. And it goes something like that. Those who cannot control themselves will be controlled by others, right? So in this case, the knucklehead on the airplane couldn't control his mouth. And so Mike Tyson treated him like a punching bag and controlled him. He was quiet after that. But Tyson couldn't control himself, assuming it's real and it's not pre-staged for publicity. Tyson couldn't control himself. And now he's going to be controlled too, sadly, by the courts. So, you know, it's very interesting. You know, from a principled standpoint, you know, both Will Smith, if they faked it, from a principled standpoint, they are perpetrating a fraud. They're trying to present something as real that is not real. I find that ethically fishy. And also from a principled standpoint, if it is real and Will Smith actually slapped Chris Rock, or Mike Tyson beat the shit out of this kid for being annoying, while understandable, you know, I've been annoyed. My kids will annoy me, but I don't beat the shit out of them. Okay. And they can be really annoying. And I don't beat the shit out of them. Okay. Somebody could talk shit about my wife, and, you know, I might get emotional, and I understand that, and I might punch somebody, but that's on me. That's my lack of control. That's allowing somebody else to control me, is how I look at it. If you're that easily manipulated by somebody else, you got deep problems and you're not going to be successful. Okay. That's just my perspective. Maybe I'm wrong. I tend to be a libertarian, and a lot of libertarianism functions off this idea of a non-aggression principle. Now, there are problems with it. I don't want to go into the deep philosophy and the issues with the non-aggression principle. I mean, I do believe that violence is the ultimate, it's kind of the golden rule. It sets the tone, but it's like, when do you apply that violence? And that's where I think being principled is important. And I do believe that, you know, if you want to live in a safe, productive society, you have to have freedom of speech, meaning you can say whatever you like, no matter how distasteful as it is, because freedom of speech and freedom of thought are inextricably connected. If you start restricting speech, you restrict thought. Okay. And thought does lead to action. Okay. Eventually, or it can be. So I would prefer freedom of speech, which freedom, you know, it gets all so politicized, but I like to bring it back to actual practical application. And that, you know, all freedom really means is optionality, having more options available to you, more choices. And I think the big restrictor should be violence, right? So if we should be free to do anything we choose, including speaking, as long as it's not as long as it's not violent, we should be free to do that. And as long as it's not fraudulent and trying to defraud people or, you know, trick people into giving away their stuff, you know, under false pretenses, under a lie. I think it's a really simple principle. I think it makes life a lot easier when you look through that lens. It's basically the idea behind libertarianism, or what is known as classical liberalism, not modern liberalism. Modern liberalism says you should be free from, like, responsibility. I mean, really, like, that the government should take care of you, that people owe you things. Like, I don't believe that's true. I believe that shift and that manipulation of the language or perversion of the idea of liberalism into socialism and communism, I don't think that's principled. I think it ends up becoming theft. You can look at the income tax. We just had tax day a little bit ago. I don't think that it's ethical. I think that it's even with these unethical companies, I'm thinking of like Pfizer, who lost the largest class action lawsuit in history. I think it was class action, and it was a criminal lawsuit, and they lost it. They're still around, right? But even them, they did that through deception and lying and manipulation, and that's bad. But the government does all those things and also forces you to pay for their services at the threat of jail. So these are thorny issues, and I don't like, even though they skirt the realm of politics, I don't think the solution is political. And someday I will do a talk on how you can solve all the world's problems by getting rid of democracy. How's that for a hook? Voting is stupid. Okay. Maybe that's what I'll title it. Maybe I'll talk about it tomorrow. I don't know. If you're interested in hearing why voting is absolutely stupid, should be abolished and done away with, or like the majority of, say, in America, just not do it. The majority of America, if it was real democracy, majority would win, and majority are non-voters. Okay. Because it's stupid. Hate to break this to you. Don't get caught up in all the bullshit, man. Voting is like betting on pro wrestling. Okay. I mean, think about it for real. And not only that, I won't get into it, but bottom line, it's deciding very important leadership and issues through popularity contest. That is not the way to make a good decision. Popularity contests are stupid. Okay. They're dumb. They don't tell you how smart somebody is, what their track record is. It's not a good way of judging things. Anyway, I'm getting off task a little bit, but it is relevant because people are going to be crucial for your success. This is one of the things that I find that I bump up against with people that are bumping up against success. There's many things that I stumble on, okay? But one of them is this inability to allow other people. So, let's say you run a business, okay? And you can only get so big. Maybe let's say you had, I have a client to be, their name will be stricken from the record, but I'll just use some. Let's say that you have a client and they're making, for the first time in their life, they make $500,000 in a year. Revenue, not profit, but revenue, which is impressive. That's awesome. Good fucking job. You're figuring it out now. Okay. You're starting to get where you need to be. But they can't go any higher. Maybe they've done that for 2 or 3 years. Okay. People are going to be your ultimate solution here. On two sides. On the buying side, yeah, you need more people buying your stuff. That's number one. Sales. Okay. This is the thing that I've tried to when I get into something, going back to the conversation and some of the stuff like Grant Cardone talks about, where I find a lot of kinship with him, is on this idea of obsession, right? And so, I'm very obsessed. This was one of the pillars of greatness that I was speaking of in the last 3 days, is allowing yourself a healthy obsession. Wrestling is one of mine, but as well is business, right? And I've tried to study it from every possible angle. Okay. I have a master's degree in financial mathematics. I've worked in investment banking, mortgage banking, insurance, software. I've worked as a statistician, as a quant, as a salesperson. I've worked in retail. I've worked for a public school system. I have been an entrepreneur. I've had multiple failures and multiple successes. What's up, Adam? Good to see you, brother. I've tried to study. I have my master's in financial mathematics. Like all this, I've tried to study from all these possible different angles to get a great perspective on it. Okay. And business is people. Okay. Like Soylent Green. It's people. Okay. Money is people, right? So not Soylent Green, but like green that you could spend is people. Get that through your head, man. That is super, Super duper critical. Okay. So if you want to make more money, if you want more income, you need more people buying your stuff. Or if you work for somebody else, you need to become more valuable, if not invaluable. Okay. So that doesn't mean being invaluable, by the way, is not being one of these douchebags that that is afraid that somebody's going to take their job, so they hide all their stuff, and they don't share the SOPs, the standard operating procedures of what they're doing, because it's job security or anything like that. That's not what I'm talking about, becoming invaluable. I'm not talking about the guy who goes out, owns a glass company and goes out and breaks windows to create demand. I'm not talking about that. Okay. That's stupid. What I'm talking is you have to become invaluable. You have to constantly be working hard, being creative, figuring out new ways to create value, to create what I talked about yesterday in mathematical game theory is known as a win-win situation. Grant Cardone calls it the winner's exchange. This is the fundamental basis of the ethical system of business that I subscribe to. And that is, hey man, you like my shirt? You come up to me like, dude, I love that shirt. I'll give you $50 for it. If I like your $50 more than I like my shirt, and you like my shirt more than you like your $50, and we trade, I'm happy. You're happy. Win-win, winner's exchange, positive sum. That is business in my mind. Okay. What's up, Adam? Hello, coach. You're in BJJ class, so you'll have to watch later. Okay. Yeah. Thanks, bro. Yeah. Watch later. You'll see me shouting you out. So, you need more people selling your company and helping you sell and helping you produce and making sure you can grow. So it's not just more clients. Of course, no brainer. To get more income, you need more clients. But at a certain point, you're going to hit a bandwidth issue. Does that make sense? You're going to hit a bandwidth issue. What's up, John? Good to see you, brother. At a certain point, you're going to sell so much stuff that you can't service it and deliver it by yourself. You're going to need more people. And let's say I spend all day doing everything I can, and I'm that guy that made $500,000 for my first time, and I'm stoked, but I can't break through that. That's because I need a second person that can sell like me, and I double that, right? X means multiply, not add. Multiply. Now I just doubled. If I could find a sales guy who could sell like me, now I doubled, and now I made $1 million in revenue. Guess what? If I find 3, or if I find 10, now I got $5 million. Do you understand? So people are absolutely crucial to what you're going to be doing. And this is the problem, I think, business, I don't know what happened. Like, it's some sort of PR shit, probably government propaganda at some level. But businesses give people jobs. They create incredible things like your cell phone that you're watching me on, or however you're watching me. Have you ever watched a fucking movie and sat through go to a Marvel movie and you sit through all the fucking credits for like an hour to see the next 2 seconds of whatever they're going to do in the future, right? Well, think about it. That 2-hour movie that you sat through, do this sometime. I fucking dare you. Sit through a fucking movie at the end and count every fucking person that contributed to that movie. You never think about that, okay? Think about the number of fucking people involved in making this stupid fucking pen. It's important. I write checks. I could get a prescription. I could do amazing things with this fucking pen. This pen probably was thousands and thousands of people involved. From the people making the plastic, to the people manufacturing, to the person that designed it, to the people fucking getting the ink, to the people putting the ink in the fucking case. I mean, but your business is people. But all the shit that the fucking communists and socialists say is actually what, they say it's going to be one thing, and then all you get is fucking breadlines and tyranny and murder. Okay. Business delivers on all the promises that these fucking socialists and communists say. So again, I don't mean to be political, but what I'm saying is I'm trying to get you guys clued into what the hell is actually going on. And if you want to be in business and you want to be successful, you need people. And you can't, it's not like the government, man. The government needs people. It does a draft. And if you avoid the draft, you go to prison. And if you fight going to prison, they kill you. Okay? Non-consensual, man. Get it. Business is consensual. You want to buy some booze? Buy some fucking booze. As long as, you're responsible and you're of age and all that kind of stuff. Right? These are the things that we have to really understand. What's up, Chris? Good to see you, brother. Yeah, people in hands, man. So it is crucial. Okay. So on one side, in terms of just making revenue, this is why I teach sales and marketing. And it's the most important thing you can do. I think what most entrepreneurs do, most people that want to be their own boss, they do have that individualistic spirit. They hate being told what to do and they don't like kissing ass. Okay. I don't think many people do. Some people are into it. I mean, there's whole like fucking whatever kinks and shit where people act like an idiot like that. But most people don't. Okay. And so they go into entrepreneurship with this idea of like, oh, I'll be my own boss and I'll be free and all this. Okay, listen, when you quit your day job and you have some douchebag boss, okay, when you quit, you're going to be your own boss. It doesn't say no boss. It says your own boss. You've got to be that dickhead. Does that make sense? You've got to drive. You've got to push. You've got to ask the person to stay late, to help out, to make it work. These are all the important things. Bear with me. I've got to tweak some things here because my Instagram live is about to shut down due to low battery. Okay. Anyway, there we go. So you've got to push, man. That's just, nobody's going to do it for you. Let's see if I can get these guys so they can see. Appreciate your patience. It takes people. It takes people. Now, that's on the buy side, right? Like that's why you sell. That's why you do marketing, because people have your money. Everything you have right now, you bought with other people's money. And everything other people have, they bought with other people's money. OPM, other people's money. You ever heard that? So like this hat, that flag, that funded Grant Cardone to buy a plane in a very small, or maybe as fuel, or I mean, whatever. Okay. Buying this shirt helps me. Right? Like it takes people. Everything is other people's money. That's what money really is a medium of exchange, of value. And value is subjective. There's no such thing as objective value. There's not. Okay? There's subjective. Every person has different ideas as to what's this abstract symbol by which we can express that and measure it. It makes things easier for people. Does that make sense? So you need people buying your product. And to have people buy your product, they first need to know you exist. If they don't know you exist, they can't give you any money. They can't buy your stuff. Okay? That's why salespeople have a rep for being pushy. Because people have to know, and you have to raise your voice and raise your hand. And a lot of entrepreneurs, they don't understand. They're very naive. They just think, okay, I'm an expert craftsman at making watches or at making some fucking thing. And maybe you are. Maybe you won fucking awards for it. Awesome. You know what my coach's coach in wrestling said? Billy Robinson was my coach, 7 years, fantastic, a genius, like Rain Man level coach on grappling. And he was winning all of these medals, like just killing it when he was a young man. And his coach, Billy Riley, said, he came to show off Billy Robinson came to show off his medals, all his winnings, these trophies and stuff to Billy Riley, his coach. And he's all happy about himself. And then Billy Riley said to him, hey, that's all great. Now, I helped you do all that. Buy me a steak dinner. And Billy just was like, I don't have any money. I can't. And that was the lesson. He said, all those awards are great, but you can't buy yourself a steak dinner and you can't buy me one. Now it's time to go pro and learn how to make money with this. Okay. That is important. You need to learn how to sell, how to promote, how to create a brand. These are crucial. And this is even important for you if you don't have your own business or you're not in sales. You're in sales no matter what. Guess what? I have one of the most beautiful, fantastic human beings for a wife. And I mean, objectively speaking, I know there's objective is value is subjective, but I'm going to say by most beauty standards, this is a gorgeous woman, gorgeous, and so kind and so smart and just a good person. Okay. I scored. Everybody, they look at me and then they look at her and they're like, dude, you traded up. And that's 100% true. Okay. Why? Because I spoke up. I actually approached her. I mean, I don't mean to sound crass, but sales, it was the best sale of my life, closing that deal. I got the best partner I could ever have, best mother for my kids. Okay. And I could use the metaphors of sales to explain exactly what happened. Okay. So, I mean, you can look at dating. You're going to be selling no matter what you do. So you got to figure out how to negotiate. You have to figure out how to handle objections. You've got to figure out how to find qualified people. Like, this is no matter what. Look, if you're trying to hire people. Okay. So let's go off of sales and think of this in a broader context in people. You've got to figure out leadership. Okay. I guess leadership might be a better, broader way of discussing this. You've got to figure out how to have people align themselves with what your vision and your mission is. Fair? How do you do that? Well, first they need to know. So you've got to make some sort of noise about what you're doing, and you got to have precision. You got to be very clear on what your vision is and how you're going to execute it, and the strategy and the benefits and the upsides to that. It's all the same thing with a sale. You buy a car because, it connects to my Alexa, or it's got some fancy GPS, or it can park itself, or it's electric, or you're buying it because it solves a problem and it has benefits. Okay. That's why you buy anything. And it goes beyond that. Let's say you're an entrepreneur, and now let's switch from the sales side where you need people for revenue. By the way, everybody knows the basic profit equation. Revenue minus expenses equals profit. Yeah. Simple. When I ask people, what is the most important term in that simple mathematical expression, they're like, oh, profit. Like, oh, really? So if my expenses are $100 and my revenue is $120, my profit's $20. So I should be focusing on the 20. Or if my expenses are $100 and my revenues are $10,000, my profit is $9,900. Which of those numbers is the most important one that I should? Revenue, okay? Revenue, income, sales, new product, income statement. You know what an income statement is? Shit, dude, figure out what an income statement, okay? Income statement, balance sheet, cash flow statement. These are basic. Figure it out. They're not complicated. Income statement tells you the income, not what you own, the cash coming in and going out, okay? That's a profit and loss statement. Income, top of line, you say Stone Cold says so, and that's the bottom line or whatever, okay? Bottom line is profit, okay? Top of line, that's sales. That's revenue. That's just a little bitty, little tiny part at the top, like the 80-20 rule. 20% of that of that income statement is just the revenue. The rest are all these little piddly fucking expenses. You can only shrink that so much and maintain production, but you can blow up the revenue. There's no ceiling on that. I mean, theoretically, there's only there's 8 billion people or whatever, but you get my point. The most important part of that is the revenue, and you get revenue through sales and marketing. Okay. Yeah. RevGen. Thank you, Tony. In fact, check out 10X RevGen, 10X RevGen, REVGEN. That is actually my sales and marketing training. And it's this. Every Monday, we're going to do it's an hour-long coaching call like this, where we talk about these, but specifically towards your business, not just me pontificating. And in addition, you also get complete access to Cardone U for daily sales training with Grant as your virtual trainer. So it's a pretty insane deal. I have a customer right now, and just like in a couple months through this very process and running a sales meeting, basically, 400% increase in revenues in a couple months. Okay. You just don't know how to do it. I didn't know how to do it. Cardone didn't know how to do it at some point. And then at some point they fucking figured out, oh, this shit's important. I figured out I need to figure this out. In my millions and millions of hours of fucking research on business and what works, because I believe in it as an ethical system, I finally figured out the most important part is actually sales and marketing. Okay, and let's talk about this. What's the difference between sales and marketing? Okay. Now, by the way, for those of you guys who are interested, I'm running a 10X Business Bootcamp here in Denver, end of June, I think June 24th to 26th. You can go to 10xdenver.co, like Denver, Colorado, 10xdenver.co. Register. It's a 3-day camp, sales, marketing, and scaling. And that's kind of actually what I'm talking about here is people, right? So marketing is everything that leads up to getting a sale. So that's lead generation. Okay. That's getting the people to know who you are. Marketing. That's what I'm doing right now. There's going to be people who pop on this fucking stream, never heard of me. They somehow randomly, whatever, the fucking algorithm makes me pop up. I don't know. This is actually marketing. Okay. This is making people aware of what I do. Okay. This is every time you post, every time you do something, anytime you see a commercial, anytime you see a billboard, anytime you hear somebody talking about Will Smith or Mike Tyson, it's marketing. If they're smart and they figure out how to monetize that publicity. Okay. So advertising, publicity, all that, that's part of marketing. Marketing is everything that gets the lead to the salesperson. Sales is the study and science and process of converting a lead into money. Okay. Into a customer, into value. Marketing is everything up to, is everything to generate the lead. Sales is everything to close the lead. Okay. Simple, right? Okay. Now, to do that, you can't do that as a solo entrepreneur and still deliver the good, make the good, deliver the service, write the. You can't do everything, man. Okay. So you're going to need salespeople. You're going to need hire marketing people. You're going to need to hire people like me to teach you so you don't get fleeced by these people. Because there are good people and bad people in every group of people. There are good gay people and bad gay people. There are good white people and bad white people. There are good businessmen and bad. There are good politicians and bad. There are good kids and bad. Like, dude, it's just the reality. You can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. But because of that, I had a radio show. I called it Mental Self-Defense. Okay. And one of the principles of mental self-defense, I ran it for 3 years. Super great show. Loved it. But one of the things, it's knowledge. We live in the information age. Okay. The only sin in the information age is not learning from your failures. Let me repeat that. The only sin in the information age is not learning from your failures. So let's look at Mike Tyson. Was that a failure? I think so, man. This is a grown-ass man. I love Mike Tyson. Love him. Think he's a great dude. Fantastic fighter. I'm a martial arts. I could appreciate all that. He let somebody else stimulate that, unless it was fake to create publicity. If it was fake to create publicity and he can monetize it, then it was smart. And but it's still unethical because he's creating a lie, a falsity, right? A fake narrative in the modern parlance. So anyway, it takes people, no matter what. It takes people to pay you and make you money, and it's going to take you paying people to help you take that money in, right? And so what you're doing the whole time is something called arbitrage. Arbitrage, okay? So when I buy low and sell high, we've all heard that fucking phrase. I mean, if you haven't heard that, dude, like these are basic things. Buy low, sell high, right? Simple. Oh, okay, that's arbitrage. That's what that means. Arbitrage is the idea of, I'll give you an example. All you Amazon dropshippers here, I'll make you some money. I had this Norelco beard trimmer thing that I've had for 5 years. Best thing I've ever had, because I shave my head all the time and whatever. I've shaved my head since 2000. I knew I was going bald, so I preemptively shaved it before I was bald. So I've been shaving since 2004. Okay, almost 20 years, 18 years. My bald head can vote, can go to war, can smoke cigarettes legally. But this Norelco shaver I got is the best one. It's amazing. It's like got multiple settings. It's all in one thing, so I don't have all these clipper things that have to come on and off. And it's effectively, I think it costs $60. Okay. Well, on Amazon, it's like $170. Okay. So if I I'll tell you right now, you go to the Norelco site. First of all, don't fuck this up because I need to go buy a new one. This is why I was looking this up. But I went to the Norelco site, saw that they were $60 on the site because I went to Amazon, they were $170. That's $110 profit. That's great margin. That's arbitrage. That's what all these Amazon dropshipper guys do. That when you go and you buy something on Alibaba, do you know what Alibaba is? Alibaba is a it's like an eBay for Chinese manufacturers. So you want to buy one of those things, made in China, and then you raise the price and sell it to people in the United States. That's arbitrage. Okay. Any entrepreneur, you're trying to figure out arbitrage opportunities and still have that winner's exchange. So even though you've done arbitrage, you find people that are still happy to exchange with you and it be a win-win. Does that make sense? This is why value is subjective. This is why the entrepreneur makes that money. Because the person who ends up happy having bought a product in the winner's exchange, they're happy because they didn't have to do all the flipping work that you did to go find it, source it, all that kind of stuff. Because they got their own life and their own shit they want to do instead of that. They just want the shirt or the hat or the watch. This is what I mean. It's complicated and nuanced, but it is truly the most efficient way for human beings to get along peaceably. Business, not big corporate assholes that use the police and use the government. That is fascism. In fact, the term used to mean the collusion between big business and big government. And then when our government became fascist, they were sure to make sure that the definition changed on fascism and start dependent on right-wing weirdos. Okay. They're just weirdos. They're just right-wing. They're not fascist. Fascism is, you want to know the greatest euphemism? Public-private partnership. Oh, Google it. Public-private partnership. Fascism, dude. It's collusion between big government and big business. This is the Nancy Pelosi who passes certain laws to benefit her stock portfolio. All these things, this mass corruption that we know is going on, right? These people that mandate certain products to boost bottom lines because they're the number one lobbyist in Washington, D.C. Am I talking about pharma? Am I talking about the military industrial complex? I don't know who I'm talking about. They all do it. It's all corrupt. So, those are unethical systems. But the winners exchange, where it's consensual, everybody wins. It's a great system. And entrepreneurs are taking risk. They're solving problems, and they're doing a lot of work that other people don't want to do. And so that is why the premium, what I call a premium, is built in on that arbitrage. It's not unfair. They're doing a lot of stuff, man. I'm telling you, you're taking a lot of risks. There's plenty, like I showed you yesterday on the podcast, there's plenty of failure in entrepreneurship. For every successful venture I've had at least one failure. Took the risk, wasted the money, spent the time. The thing that you have to understand is the most valuable commodity is time. That's why interest exists, right? It's a time-based concept. There's a term, like a set of terms, right? Based on time. And you're renting money over time. And there's a cost to that. Because time, they're not making any more of it. At least not outside of science fiction. Okay? Or outside of ancient aliens or some shit. There's no more time. This is what we get. So, the most important thing that you are going to do is figure out how to serve and help people. In business, there are two ways. One, providing a fantastic value as either a product or a service. Okay, that's going to help them, like, with their health, with their wealth, those kind of situations, right? Or their vanity. Okay, that's on the buy side. On the production side, you've got to help people as well, because there's going to be some people that are risk averse. I'm not saying entrepreneurship is for everybody. It certainly is not. There are some people that are worker bees. I'm not saying that in a derogatory sense. They're necessary. There are people that aren't creative in this way. Maybe they can rock out and they can make a cool song, or they can write a great novel, or they can do things creatively that I can't do. Okay. That's awesome. I need their help. Okay. And you're going to need their help. If you have a mission and a vision as an entrepreneur and you want to make an impact, you're going to need other people. Okay. So that's really what I wanted to talk about today. I just wanted to talk about, I had the 4 pillars, that I talked about in the last 3 days for greatness, right? This was coming out of my keynote speech that I'm working on, Wrestling with Greatness, talking about scientific wrestling as a wrestling business and some of the principles and things I've learned, not only as a grappler, but also in the business, the wrestling business. Is one, the most important thing is getting real and dealing with facts, like whether you like it or not, like what's reality, like dealing with gravity, dealing with things that actually exist. Okay. 2 is getting obsessed. Yeah, a healthy obsession to where you're single-minded. Maybe a better word that has less baggage is single-minded focus. You have to develop it or find something that you can express a single-minded focus on. Okay. So you got to get real, deal with facts, develop your single-minded focus. 3, you got to take calculated risks, right? Meaning willing to fail, but do your best not to. And 3rd is it's going to take 4th, it's going to take a tremendous amount of effort. Okay. The 5th unwritten one, and maybe I'll add a 5th pillar to this talk now that I'm thinking about it, is people. Just like Soylent Green, it's people. Money is really actually people. I mean, yeah, like you can manipulate it through inflation and all that, but the value, the exchange, it's people exchanging money. That's why you get money. You figure out the right qualified person to sell something to. And it's different for everybody. That's why there are Priuses and there are Teslas and Rolls Royce. They're all cars and they'll all get you from A to B. And they're all have comfort and safety features and technology in them. A Prius is aimed at one particular buyer. The Tesla is aimed at another income level, and the Rolls Royce at another, and the private jet at another. And the Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk rocket ships for another. Space tourism. So anyway, I hope this was of help to you. You know, like I said, if you want to go more in depth and you want to have one-on-one and you want to have me apply what I know to your situation, there's many ways. I do one-to-one coaching. You can find that over at thales.coaching.com. I'm launching a group coaching that's more affordable. This is the one-to-one is very expensive, okay? Because you get to pick the time. It's completely devoted to you, my problem solving and my experience and my Rolodex and all that. It's to your problems. But I do offer group coaching, which is more affordable. It's a group of 10 people, like a mastermind, and I present, teach, and then we do Q&A, and you can still contact me, reach me. That's another way. Let me know. And if none of that works, you can come to my business boot camp, 10X Business Boot Camp. I'm doing it in Denver. It's a 3-day event on sales, marketing, and scaling, how to grow your business. And again, it's going to be going in depth. Today we're general principles. We're going to be going in depth into strategies, tactics, actual things where the rubber hits the road. So I hope this was valuable to you guys. If it was, please leave me a comment, maybe share. If I can help you further, hit me up. You can DM, leave a message, call my phone number. It's not hard to get a hold of me. I'm here for you. Just let me know and we'll get you going. I offer financing. So there's nobody that can get turned away. I am dedicated to help you make more money and make your life better. Money's not going to solve all your problems, but as I've heard it, I'd rather be crying in a Lamborghini than a Pinto. So thanks again, guys, for tuning in, and I will see you all tomorrow. Check it out. Yeah, Thales Coaching, 10xdenver.co, .co, 10xrevgen, REVGEN.com. These are all places where I can help you. Thanks, guys.